Welcome to Storytime at the Roo Bus, a weekly podcast about the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. I'm your host, Charla.
I'm Daniel.
I'm JB.
JB, I am so happy to have you on this week. You and I were just talking while we were getting ready to record. I think you got kind of the Roo flu also, didn't you?
Yes, I definitely got the Roo flu. It was pretty rough, but overall, I'm doing well now, so that's all good.
So, do we call it the Wook flu or the Roo flu? I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Same thing. I like saying Roo flu because they rhyme a little better.
Yeah.
So I definitely lean that way.
All right. So, JB, we have a lot of new listeners these days. Could you kind of like reintroduce yourself just a little bit?
Yeah, I'm JB. I am from a really small town in Tennessee. I just finished my third Bonnaroo. So excited for my fourth next year. And yeah, really, I just here for a good time.
You're here for a good time and you are here for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully the roof doesn't kill me next year.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you have become one of these very ingrained Ruvians.
Oh,
and
definitely.
this year you really cemented yourself, and we're going to get around to that later. I think you've got a really good story to share about one of the most viral moments from Roo this past year.
JB has an origin story.
Oh,
We met JB on Twitter.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys want to collectively tell this story?
I was just going to say, I thought he was an old man.
Wait, what? Why?
Because I'm going to be real honest, JB, the reason I thought you were an old man. I also thought Josh was an old man, but that's
well, he is in a certain way.
We
call him Pawpaw just as a joke.
Like he takes that. He literally like changed his screen name to Pawpaw. I thought you were an old man because you live in Savannah, Tennessee. And I thought only old people live.
Can you back that up? True?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna argue that. That's a good argument. Savannah ages you, so that's not a bad argument.
So, JB, we're going to talk later about how you kind of went viral at Roo this year, but you were actually known for something else before that. You went viral at a baseball game a few years ago, right?
Yeah, back in I can't remember what year. I think that was 2019. So I'm a huge Mississippi State baseball fan. So if anyone follows college baseball, there's a lot of I always tell people to watch college baseball if you're a huge fan of the MLB. The fan base interaction within just college baseball in general is just fantastic. But I love college baseball and when I went to Mississippi State. So as a student, we were in the super regional against Stanford, and I was in the stand, and I was kind of in the stands in the little berm area, and they caught me dancing at one point, and then NCAA baseball posted it on Twitter, and so that's kind of it. And it became a meme and an ad for one of the apparel companies like in Starkville, for like an email. I'm like, why did I get an emailed a GIF of myself? And I was like, and why am I not getting any royalties off this? I was like, I should get a free hat or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You became like a mascot of sorts for them, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's so many different rally traditions that happen in baseball. I think at that point, like the banana was the year prior. But there's so many different things people rally behind. So it was just one of those things. Once it happened, it was nonstop for a few days, a few weeks.
Well, I know on our Discord server, and to put in a plug for Charlotte, you can find that in all the Roo Bus social stuff if anybody wants to hang out with us. You and our friend Josh that we just talked about, Josh Wenzel from around the Knoxville area, have kept me apprised of college baseball. You know, of course, I love MLB and the Braves and everything, but I keep an eye on that. We got to give a shout out to Josh because Tennessee won the College World Series, right? I know.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys keep an eye on that. How is it looking for next year? Like, what's going to be the top SEC schools?
Ooh, so it's going to be controversial next year, and it's a little early to kind of tell who's going to where, and kind of how everything's going to look. Tennessee is still going to be, I think, the team to beat at this moment in time. But like the past few years, once you've won a national championship, they've kind of plundered a little bit. So I mean, Vanderbilt Vanderbilt actually was kind of good, but they made the national championship in 21, but they haven't been back since. State, once they won, they were terrible for 2 years. Ole Miss won, they were terrible for 2 years. LSU last year, they kind of broke the curse a little bit by making a regional, but their season was awful. And Tennessee winning it this year, I mean, if the trend goes that same way, it's not great for Tennessee, but Vitello has done such a great job with that program. I think they're going to be just fine. And oh man, the once Tennessee won, the drama around A&M and Texas kind of ensued. So it's like if anyone doesn't know, A&M and Texas are two of the biggest rivals, and Texas is now coming to the SEC. And so they just took A&M's coach and all the assistant coaches with them right after they lost the national championship to Tennessee. So it's very dramatic in that section of the SEC. And so
JB, I think we need to have a spin-off podcast just to talk baseball.
yeah. Well, I think just the SEC or just sports in general. I mean, I think there's a lot of fans of different Roo ball. So I mean, if you're talking like me, Josh, Eric, shout out Eric because he could keep you up to date on Iowa and everything Iowa. It's awesome. And so yeah, there's a lot of great sports out there.
Also, we should give a shout out because like Josh and many others are going with us to the Braves and Cardinals game on the 20th. And if anybody's in the Atlanta area, I think we could just put the word out because we're just going to sit in the general admission area. So if you want to go hang that night, the 20th, Braves and Cardinals, come see us. We're going to go trail blooper that night.
And if you do love sports in Bonnaroo, there's this whole sports channel in our Discord server.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The plug.
Throwing that out there, the plug.
Well, JB, we could talk about that all night. We'll talk later about doing this whole spin-off podcast.
Yeah.
But let's get to what we're really here for and talk Roo. We're going to get to the whole story about the T-Pain show later. But since last week, Charlotte and I in Brooklyn did all of our recaps, I just wanted to do a brief recap for you. Like, how did Roo go for you? What was some of your favorite shows? Like, what was some of the crazy things that happened for you?
Man. And it's hard for me to like narrow down everything unless I'm going through everything. Like from coming in Tuesday, everyone in the camp just welcoming me and helping me set up camp was awesome. And then we went on a hike just around the campground.
Yeah.
I kind of saw everything, which was really cool. I thought that was one of my favorite parts, just going through going by House of Yes and going through Where in the Woods and seeing the stage was really cool. And then just walking back, it was a really fun night, kind of an opening night that was kind of chill and kind of just walking around, seeing everything was great.
That has turned into one of my favorite traditions. It's like the first or second night before it gets too crowded, when everything is still pristine, just doing a big lap around the campgrounds and seeing what's new, like where some of your friends are that have also come in super early and just getting a taste of everything before it really gets going.
Yeah. And that was really cool to see. I mean, this was my first Tuesday coming in because the years prior I'd come in Wednesday and Thursday. And so coming in Tuesday was a huge change for me. It was just really cool to see everything, like a lot of the RV field just being almost completely empty. It was such a cool sight. And then Wednesday, I know everyone started coming in there. We had the shout out to Maddie and Andrew again for throwing a huge party. I mean that whole show was really fun. And everyone really just chilling at camp as well, being right next to it, like listening to some music from camp, listening to some music under the tent. Was just really cool. And then Wednesday was really just more of a chill day, just hanging out with everyone and meeting everyone in the camp. And then Thursday it was kind of when I think everything started to ensue. I can't remember. I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember a lot of the shows I saw except GWAR. So GWAR was just really fun that night. It was great. I know I did a little bit of Pretty Lights, a little bit of It Smurf, and then Andrew and I saw a little bit of Big X the Plug, and then I stayed for Military Gun and GWAR. And GWAR was just a blast.
Now, I want to hear a little bit more about this GWAR show because I know that one was one that you were really excited for. In fact, you had us outfit just for that show. Could you tell us about that?
I did. So I had purchased a white suit I solely to get ruined at GWAR. I s- so I it was like literally a white coat, a white tie, and white pants that I cut at camp last minute to make into shorts because it was so hot. And I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way I'm wearing
Wait,
pants.
were you
Like,
sitting there at the monkey bar with a pair of scissors, just like cutting that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So like in between, because I remember I saw a little bit of Michigander beginning Thursday, and then after that, I went back and I was like, I'm gonna chill here, and then I'm gonna get the suit on, and then go in for pretty lights, and but then as I was getting it on, I was like, these pants are just obnoxious. Everything's gonna be so sweaty. If I from now until GWAR, I don't want that to happen. So I asked Ernst, who's camped like across from me. I was like, "Do you have scissors I could borrow?" And he lent me a pair of scissors. He's like, "Dude, you got to go Bart Simpson and do like the triangles like on his shorts." So I tried to do that. Uh, okay. And so then I made shorts like in the middle of the campground in the monkey bar. And that was great.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it came like that. I thought the suit came like
No,
I guess
no,
that kind of, you did a good
I
job.
cut it
Yeah.
up. I started cutting it at like 5 and then put everything on and got into the campgrounds at 6.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no,
How
it
was that
was
show? Like you just told us like how you got your fit ready. I know you
yeah.
had really hyped up that show. Did it meet your expectations?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm so GWAR's usually a artist like music wise I usually wouldn't lean to, but I had always heard about the great theatrics of them, and I
Yeah.
thought, heavy metal would be a really cool show to see and try to get on the rail for. Uh being I don't want to be in the middle of a mosh pit. I'd rather be on the rail where I know I can get some air. Uh but also try and get up close to get covered in blood and whatever. And so it was really cool to see like in person because it surpassed all my expectations. I didn't know how they did everything, and I was like, oh, this is really neat. And how they just played to the crowd was cool. I thought it was uh I thought it was very interactive. I thought only thing I know is a lot of people were disappointed on the blood not shooting far enough. For me, that didn't really matter. I was up front, but I wish like it could have covered more people.
Well,
yeah,
let's talk about that for a
yeah.
moment because I thought about that after we recorded our
Mhm.
recap episode last week and we had some of our constructive critiques. This was another one that I wish I had put in last week when it comes to constructive critiques because that VIP pit that no
Mhm.
one ever used at this tent and that tent was a little annoying. I thought. Did you think so?
For me, I wasn't on that side, so it didn't like really impact me as much. But I think it for a show like GWAR, it definitely makes an impact whenever you're like at that farther rail and you're not getting anything on you and you think that you can get covered in blood or kind of party with everyone. I think it could have been a little managed a little better. And
Yeah.
like seeing some pictures of it of how empty it was just sad. It takes up like
Yeah.
half of the front,
It's too
and
big.
so
It kind
it's
of
a little too
hurts.
big.
It hurts the vibes a little bit. And I'll give you an
Mhm.
example. Andrew and I went to go see Mdu Mokhtar, and I love that show. I talked last week about how much that impacted me, but it was a little weird having like such a big lawn with nobody in it. I would say only 20% of that section was used by the role like a rock stars or platinums or whoever it was that come out of their ivory towers to use that spot. And Taco sent me a snap from that GWAR show. One of the GWAR guys got tired of not being able to hit people with the blood over that whole lawn and jumped into
Mhm.
it and came to everybody on the rail. So
Yeah,
at least they saw it and made use of that space, I suppose. But you were on the side
yeah,
that didn't have that, so you were right there in front of the band, right?
yeah. I was right in front of the band. I was kind of I wasn't front and center, but I was front and to the left side or stage right. And so with that, it was kind of I was about 20 feet from Taco actually. I didn't realize until like after, and he's sending snap. I'm getting all the
You're like,
snaps.
oh, you're right there.
I'm like, oh, like, dude, you're literally like 20 feet away from me. And he didn't get any. I think he got like one drop of blood on him, really, and like that was it. Versus me, who got like completely plastered. Uh,
You know,
it was
I meant to joke with you about this at the monkey bar, but you should have sent like a picture to your mom when you were covered in blood and be like, do we have insurance?
no, I no, I no.
Negative.
I think because one, that's at like 3. That show ended at like 2 a.m. And so if my mom gets a text to me covered in blood at 2 a.m. At Bonnaroo, she's not gonna be happy. She's no, it's a that's Daniel, of all your ideas, that's probably the worst idea ever.
Okay.
I don't know about his mom, but my mom would have drove to Tennessee.
Oh, well, yeah. My dad would just be like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, let's go ahead. So, like you talked about your Thursday, let's talk about your Friday.
Yes. So Friday was a big day for me. So Friday, what did I start out with? So I mean we chilled out in the camp for a bit, and that was all great. And then I think I went in to see, who did I go see? It was David Kushner. I think I went and saw, was that day? Yeah, it was David Kushner on Friday. Uh and so he was really cool. Had a really good show. And then after that I stayed at Witch the rest of the day and saw Gary Clark, got in the pit for Lizzie McAlpine, and then I got in line for T-Pain during Maggie Rogers.
Oh, so
Uh
you went early, like early.
yes.
How many
Like
hours of time was that?
I don't know how many hours it was. So they don't let people line up in like didn't let people line up in like the witch line until like about 30 minutes or an hour until like until that show starts.
Yeah.
So everyone's waiting like outside that gate. And so there was about probably 12 people there. I said, I know with this line and knowing T-Pain, that show's gonna get packed real fast.
And it did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I stayed there. Maggie Rogers was awesome. That was one show. I know shout out Evan. I know Evan loves Maggie.
Yeah.
Uh
This is girl.
I've that her voice is incredible. Like that was a great show. And then and I saw I got someone to hold my stuff so I could see one Post Malone song, and then ran back into line for T-Pain.
Wow.
I was just like, I gotta say I've seen Post. And I was like, I'm gonna say one song and I'm good. And so I saw I Like You, and then like ran back. And that
Did you
was,
see all of the fireworks over there while you were waiting for the pit?
yeah, we can definitely hear the fireworks, and you could see some of them.
That's
Can
cool.
we just give a shout out to the person that held JB's stuff?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that would not happen at other festivals.
Somebody came
No,
in.
I was like, and so she was like, if you want to go up there, I'll hold your stuff. And I don't know who this girl is, but she was
Wow.
great. Shout out to her. And she's like, yeah, I got you. And so I ran up, and then I go back, and they've let people in the line like right as I left. And she's like, JB, I'm over here. And I said, thank you so much, because I would have been like pretty far back in that line.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's not a lot of other
Yeah.
festivals where that would
Yeah,
happen.
so that's
Yeah.
the Bonnaroo way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's talk about the party in the pit. So I
Yes.
haven't heard a lot of this story from you. Like I know about what happened afterwards and everything, but I haven't heard many of your
You've seen the
tales
videos.
once you got in. So how did that go? What was the vibe in there? Like tell us the whole deal.
I thought the vibe was great. Like kind of once we got in, everyone kind of was really excited. Everyone knew it was going to be a party. I think I've seen T-Pain one time before, and I knew it was going to be electric, but I didn't think it was going to be that electric. It surpassed my expectations from a T-Pain show. It was incredible. Uh, and so so when I ended up on the rail, kind of near front left. Front left is kind of, or stage right is kind of where I've kind of ended up. And I was with Charmel for a little bit, and Charmel switched with Christy. And so so it was me, Christy, and some random dude. And and I get my T-Pain flag out. I was like, look, I'm at the rail. I can't be waving this up in front of everyone. Because I love totems, but if you're at a rail and you wave a totem at the rail,
Yeah.
you're kind of a butthole. So I was like, I'm gonna detach this and just have it here so T-Pain sees it, and hopefully he likes it.
So
And
you had the
then
whole thing like pulled out, stretched over the
All right,
rail.
tell us about the flag.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
we've explained this a little bit on the show, I
let
think.
me see if I have it here.
Oh, yes. You have it in
Since
the
it's
room with you?
visual. Yeah, it's right here.
Okay. Pull it out. Let's see it. We're recording this
So
for
I don't know the lighting, how you can see, but pretty much it is a Google search
Yeah.
of T-Pain's. Oh, if I can grab it, here we go.
Yeah.
So it's a Google search uh, saying T-Pain's full name. And then down here, I can't tell if you can see it. Pretty much says
Yeah.
Tylenol pain relief. And so
And
so
for
I
anybody
have
just
that
listening,
there.
this thing is enormous. It could be
It's
used
a 3x5.
in a king size bed.
Yeah, it's a 3x5 flag. It's size of the normal American flag.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so tell everybody the story you told me. You're pretty sure that he saw it early on, right?
So I wasn't sure. Christy was very sure. So kind
Well,
of the whole.
back up for anybody that doesn't know. These are some people that were in our group camp.
Yep. Shout out Christy. Uh, so she uh so she had pointed out to me like after the show, she's like, "Hey, I'm very certain he saw that flag," and like pointed to his DJ and stuff. I was like, he may have not. Like lighting's kind of crazy. I hope he did. But I know that people were that all the people taking photos of stuff like love the flag are like, oh dude, that's good. And so I didn't know someone got a photo of it. And so that was, but I knew like people came up to me and were like, that's a great flag that were in like the media. And
Yeah.
so that was something really cool. And I was like, hopefully they get out of the way so T-Pain could see it. And yeah, that was just really fun. I mean, that whole show, man, was so good. The fact that it started out, the lights go green, is like Post Malone's finishing up, so I think everyone's kind of rushing there, and
Yeah.
they start playing Powerline, to get the vibe.
Yes, I was there for a moment. I'm just now remembering this. So
Mhm.
Powerline from a Goofy movie. It was amazing.
Yes, they played Powerline Eye to Eye, and I that's kind of set the vibe for the whole night. Uh, and once that happened, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a party. Like everyone around me singing, screaming the lyrics. I mean, that's the type of audience T-Pain has, is that late 90s, early 2000s kid. And we're all just like screaming the lyrics to Eye to Eye by Powerline.
Yeah.
And then like he has the whole Alien show going on.
Yeah. Now
Uh,
the Bowie alien thing happened after the Powerline song, if
yeah,
I remember right. Because it starts playing Space Oddity, I think, and then you see the parachuters come down with the sparklers at their feet or whatever.
yeah, and I don't know if that was like planned for. I think that was part of like Red Bull's like ad or
Yeah.
something, which is just a funny coincidence. You're like, oh, it's like a shooting star coming down or like an alien spacecraft landing or something. And you're like, this is kind of weird. Is this part of this show? Or is it part of Post Malone's? Like, I don't know what's going on. And then like the whole alien thing's playing, the Space Oddity starts, and then T-Pain just starts playing, and it's just a madhouse from there. It's just one of the best shows I've seen.
I watched a fair bit of it because somebody uploaded the full thing
Yeah.
to YouTube. And the back end of that show looked insane, where he was doing like clips of songs that he was featured in. Like All I Do
Yeah,
Is Win, I'm on a boat, stuff like that. It
yeah.
looked insane. Like, what
Well,
did it
I'm
look
on.
insane in the pit?
Well, it felt insane, but the thing I didn't realize is everyone's wanted to play was saying, "I hope he plays I'm on a boat." Turns out he hadn't played that in 2.5 years until
Oh,
that point. That was his first time playing it in 2.5 years, and he did it for Bonnaroo. And so that's a huge deal getting that. But really knowing if you know T-Pain, like he was in his bag in 2008 for features. There was I think there was an award show, and it was like best feature. But I can't remember if this was like the MTV Music Awards or
yeah,
the
yeah.
BET Awards, or it was a music award, and it said best feature, and every single category was featuring T-Pain, like every single one. So no matter what it was just who had the best, which T-Pain feature was the best, and that was kind of what that category was in 2008. And I think Good Life by Kanye and T-Pain won that year, but there was banger after banger after banger throughout that. And really, every song T-Pain has is pretty much a banger.
Well, yeah.
So I watched the stream that someone uploaded, and I cannot believe I missed it. I don't know where I was. Clearly not at T-Pain. I don't know, but
you messed up. I do think that's going to go down as one of those like magical late night shows.
Oh yeah.
Like along with Tame Impala in 2016 or Lonely Island a few years ago. People are still quoting bits from that whole show. I think 5-10 years from now, people are still going to be talking about that T-Pain show. It was so smart of them to put it at Which in the prime late night slot for that Friday, and giving him such a good slot where they knew it was going to be a party. That was just like chef's kiss for the bookers.
There's multiple shots in the video where you can see JB singing.
Yes. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. Christy kept saying like I knew every word, and I was like, I don't think I did. And then I think there was one song I know I didn't know the words to. But sometimes you can kind of figure out what the words are going to be during a T-Pain song, which is the best part about T-Pain. It's like you can, like, I can't remember which song I didn't know, but like once you get the chorus down, you're like, okay, I can, as long as I know the chorus, I'm good. And so, but man, that show's just fantastic.
So let's talk about what happened after the fact, after that show. Because you were talking about the photographers in the pit, and it turns out one of them got this badass shot of you.
Yes. Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask my mom, she says, "What the hell is in your mouth?" And because she's like, I don't know what JB's doing. Is he smoking? Is he doing anything? She actually thought it was the water thing, and I thought it was part of my Camelback too. It was a kazoo. I didn't realize it was a kazoo until Evan pointed it out like 30 minutes later. I was like, that is a kazoo. You're absolutely right. And so the photo is of me kind of holding kazoo in my mouth. I'm holding it like a doobie for whatever reason. I don't know. I know, but I know exactly because of the lighting. I know that's during power line. The whole power line.
It's the green light.
It's the green light. I know that was really only used during like power lines point. So I know exactly what I'm doing. Is like I'm playing the kazoo to like the end of power line because it's just a vibe. And then and so I'm holding and we had the flag in front of me because it's like myself, Christy, and then this random guy. He's like, "Oh, that's a badass flag. I'm gonna hold it." And so I have the flag in one hand, like holding it to make sure it doesn't fall, and then I have the kazoo in another hand, and the photo is just a really cool photo. I didn't realize how it looked, and then
it's awesome. Yeah.
And then turns out it was in the Tennessean and USA Today, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, but it's also not a good look when family finds out.
You're like thinking, I have to do some damage control for this.
Yeah, thing the whole time.
I did too.
No, if you zoom in close enough, you can see it's a kazoo. It's one of the kazoos that.
Your second time going viral.
Yeah.
Yes. And then after that, later in the day, so I get the photo, I put it on my story. I'm just like happy Roo, and then it was just like the T-Pain, just added T-Pain and Bonnaroo. And then and Friday was just a great day. Overall.
Now wait a minute. You're skipping something.
No, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So because what it happened in the middle of the day.
Okay.
With that part. So we're because I know you went to MDU Mock. No, that was on Friday, wasn't it? Was it MDU? That was the show I regret missing.
We're 2 weeks away. The specific memories are starting to fade away now.
No.
Yeah. No, okay. No, I remember. So y'all were at Ethel Kane at that point.
That's right. That was Saturday.
Yep, that was Saturday. I know I went to see David with a 4, and he was really cool. It was really a cool, chill vibe. And then I went to go to Vandaloo, or Vandalux. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. And before he comes on, I get a notification on my phone, and it says T-Pain posted your story, and I'm like, huh? And I was like, that's not right. And so I go and check, and then I'm like, what's going on here? And so then I see T-Pain reposted my story onto his story, just saying funniest sign of the night. And I had posted a lot of different Bonnaroo things that afternoon. And so I was freaking out, and I ended up like walking away from Vandaloo and ended up at the Teskey Brothers just from wondering like I'm like I just had to walk and get away so I don't like break down in the middle of Vandaloo. And so I'm like freaking out a little bit. And I'm like, okay, so I definitely know he saw the flag now.
His
that was,
favorite.
I think, and so and so that was just so crazy. I'm like, okay, that's insane.
So when did your mom see the picture?
When I posted on my story, she didn't see it until I posted it, and so once I posted that was when she saw it, and then she screenshotted it and sent it to my brothers and said, "What the hell is in his mouth?" And then John and my youngest brother, he guessed, he said it looks like a kazoo, and so he was right.
See, we never knew.
You guessed that.
Yeah, well, they were looking like really closely. So I mean, if you look at the photo again, I think it's still my profile picture on Twitter or X now.
We'll dig it up.
It's
I'll
really-
get Carla to post this on like the Roo Bus stuff so everybody can see this.
Yeah, I'll resend it to you, and so that way that y'all.
It's integral that if you're
Mhm.
listening to this, you got to go look at the Roo Bus Twitter or Instagram or whatever so you can see this picture as you listen to this.
And make sure you follow. If you're not following the Roo Bus, I don't know what you're doing.
Listen to this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, JB, I think at this point we're going to take a quick break so me and Charlotte can edit in our little totem promo for the Patreon. And then we'll be right back to talk about how the rest of Saturday and then Sunday went for JB.
Sounds good.
You notice.
All right, we'll be back with JB in just a moment, but for now, you want to do our Patreons, Daniel?
Yes, we do. And I wanted to talk about Totem and Patreon just for a moment. We have gotten some new names that we'll go through here in just a moment. I got some good news today. It is pretty much confirmed that we will have a Totem booth at South Star here in Huntsville
That's
at the end of
awesome.
September.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to have some of our board and some others there at our booth for a couple of hours during the day. We'll probably abandon ship about 4 o'clock or something like that because when all the good acts start playing, nobody's going to come to those kind of things. But up until that point, we will have some type of arts and crafts and some little giveaways and everything. And we'll be there to talk about what we're up to in the coming year. So if you are going to be at South Star here in Huntsville, please come and see us. You'll be able to meet some of our board and do some fun stuff and learn about what we're up to. Go see that before you see Blink-182 play 3 chords and a lot of bad words. It'll be a lot, yeah. It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, Charlotte, would you like to go through all of our names for this week?
Sure, of course. It looks like we got 3 new Patreons this week, which is
let's go.
so exciting.
Yeah.
And again, 100% of the Patreon funds does go to support the Totem Foundation. So we don't keep a cent of this. It all goes to Totem.
Mm-hmm.
So Charmel, Daniel, or as you guys know him as Jones, Sarah, David and Aurora, String Bean, Taylor, Zach and Jeremy, Amber, Andrea,
Shout out Calliope.
JB,
Yeah, speak of the devil.
Sam, Austin, James, Chelsea, aka Hygiene Queen, Ryan, Chris and Shy, Dan, Ernst, Harris, Keith and Casey, or Keith.
We'll get through this. I'm not editing this. Keep
No,
going.
the reason I said that, it's two separate donations. So Keith, Casey,
Yeah.
Dave, Amanda, Aaron, Nick, Maddie, McFerg, Bruce, Kent, Randy, Eric and Ben.
By the way, happy anniversary.
Happy 10th anniversary.
Yeah, I know, right?
Evan, Jay, Chloe, and Sean.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
The reason I paused there for a second on Keith and Casey is because they actually got married.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
met them at Bonnaroo this year. Talked to them at Bonnaroo, and I had noticed that their names changed a couple of months ago on the Patreon list, and I was like, I don't know, but yeah, they got married a while back, so congratulations to them.
Love it. Hung
Yes.
out with him quite a bit.
Yeah, I got to meet a few of our other Patreons. Talked to Austin. I think he came to one of the parties out there at the Roo Bus. Came to the Monkey Bar and came out to the Wednesday event, and one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I mean, just so kind and so nice. And all of our Patreons are. And just thank you guys again so much for all that you do to support Totem.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And if you are a newish listener, you can find that at patreon.com/Roobus. And if you want to learn more about our new nonprofit, it is at totemfnd.org. We're going to be making some moves and doing some cool stuff in the upcoming 6 months. We want to grow a little bit from what we did this past year. And if you're new, we kind of have 3 things that we're working on. So first is the mentorship program, where we're going to match a lot of rookies with people who have already been to Roo and eventually other festivals. We're also doing a scholarship. So we had 3 this year. We might even grow that, maybe another person or 2 next year at Roo. And eventually we're going to do an international program. And our first goal is to bring in a band from Haiti here in maybe 25, 26. We'll get there. For the rest of the year, we're going to be doing some corporate fundraising, because if we're going to bring in somebody from Haiti, we got to raise funds to do that. So that's going to be a focus for us for a little while. So again, it is at totemfnd.org if you want to learn more about all of that.
And I will be getting the July Totem newsletter out probably early next week.
Ooh.
And then we will have a Totem board meeting next week as well. The Totem board members are open to the public.
The meetings are.
The meetings. Yes,
Yeah.
That's what I said.
The members are, but I guess they're
I'm
open
sorry.
to
I said that incorrectly. My apologies.
I'm not editing any of this.
The meetings are open to the public. And yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, look at the Totem Twitter account. We'll stream it live on there when we have the meeting.
Yes. But I will get the newsletter out early next week. So look for that in your email.
Yeah. Okay. With all that said, let's get back to our talk with Jay Bruce.
All I need is half a chance on second thought, a second glance of brew. I got whatever it takes. It's a piece of cake. To stand out above the crowd.
Okay, welcome back, everybody.
All right, JB, I think we've got to get through what happened for you the rest of Saturday and then Sunday. So we left off when you had just found out that T-Pain shared your picture. How was the rest of Saturday night for you?
Saturday was overall really good. I mean, I forgot to mention, like, Saturday morning I did the D&D campaign in the bus.
That
and
went
so
fantastic.
Yeah, it was really fun. Shout out Charmel, Madison, and Jules for playing with us. That was really fun. I've never done anything like that, so really just being able to DM and kind of do all that was really cool. And really just shout out to them and thank them because they were all just fantastic.
Now, tell some of the details of that, because you made your little one-shot Dungeons and Dragons campaign very Roo themed.
Yes, so it was very important for me, like, making sure it incorporated Roo elements. I kind of just homebrewed it. Pretty much I was like, there's pretty much this storyline, to put it in layman's terms. There's an item they have to find to save Bonnaroo, to save the magic at Bonnaroo. And so they're on a quest to find the item and then have the item get put back in its rightful place. And so that's kind of the whole journey, but there's a few different twists and turns throughout. And so everything at Bonnaroo could be something they interact with, whether that's at the House of Yes, different vendors. If they go into Cinnaru, if they want to do the Ferris wheel, or if they want to go to different stages, or they want to go to different vendors, that was all something they could interact with. And so there was like
NPCs, right?
Yeah, there's a few different NPCs. I know we did. Who did I have? I know I made up a lot of them on the spot that were like different vendors. There's one encounter that they had encountered the What podcast. So that was depending on how that went, that was either going to be really friendly or it was going to be a deadly encounter. Thankfully for them, it was a really friendly encounter.
Yeah.
And
it depends on if it's berry or stone. Yeah.
well, they interacted with all 3. So it was that was all. It was good for them to do that, and how they went about it was a good way to do so.
Taco needs to be an orc at Ye Old Bitter Alibi.
No, well, no. Well, Taco was a rock gnome, because he tinkers around with everything, like from doing the iPod in his car and in the van, or really his bus and however many cars he has, and then also like just having PBR at hand. So that's just he's loaded up there. And then Barry, I think, was a bear, just Barry, and so that was I didn't know what to do there, so that was but that was really fun. Made him really chill. And then Stone, I think I made a human barbarian, because he's called himself cynical and kind of angry at stuff. He's really awesome though, and so just kind of made him wear like a Pearl Jam shirt and uh get mad at Taco for running through a wall instead of going through an open 5 feet away. But that was
So how did Saturday night go for you? Like, what did you see?
Saturday night was really cool. I know from Saturday after Teskey Brothers, I was at John Batiste with a group of us, and that was really fun.
Yeah, we were all there together. That was a great
That was
show.
probably my favorite show Saturday. I think that's one of my favorites. He just had a cool vibe. I wish he had like a later night, but also like that sundown felt like really a good vibe as well. Uh, and then after that, I ran with Brooklyn to Gregory Allen Isakov, and that was really cool. It was me, her, and Ernst, and we all chilled there for a little bit. And then I rushed back to find you guys at Cage the Elephant and Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then after that, I think Friday had I went pretty hard on Friday, so after that I went back to camp and chilled out with Chloe and Charmel at the camp the rest of the night.
Now, I was gonna give you some crap for not coming back to Pretty Lights, but you had a pretty full day.
I had a full day on Friday, and like Saturday I was kind of the point where I was teetering a little bit, and so
Yeah.
it was but it was still a really fun day.
You got to know your limits. You did good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I know how your Sunday ended because me and you and Andrew were down there on the club floor, but up until Fred again, where all did you go?
I didn't do too much on Sunday, so I started the day with Chapel Roan. So that was such a fun set. That was really, really great. So a group of us went to Chapel Roan. It was, I think, myself, Madison, Chloe, Charmel, Brennan, Jums. Who else? I shouldn't be naming names because I'm gonna forget names that were there and that weren't there. But there was a group, but really there's just a big group of us that went and we saw Chapel, and that was a fantastic show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she's gonna be huge in the next few years. She's already huge now, but I mean, she's gonna be at a whole nother level within the next year or two. And then after that, we did the fountain and we did the water slide.
That was fun. I forgot to mention that last week. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I did that in jorts, which I kind of regret, but other yeah. You know, I was just like, it's Jort Sunday, so I had to wear jorts at some point. I was like, might as well do it on the water slide.
There's always a Jorts Day. Plus, we have John Cena's cousins as one of the big groups these days.
True, yeah.
So I think it fits.
Yeah, it fit. I should have wore a swimsuit for that and then changed it. But then after that, I went back to camp. Got changed, got settled. Stayed in camp for the rain, and then went to Megan Thee Stallion and Fred again. And I mean, both of those shows were fantastic.
He was throwing it at Megan. That got wild.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun show. Andrew and I, like, we're walking, we're making our way to Megan, and like Andrew was throwing it more than I was. Like Andrew loved that show.
We gotta get him on to get his version of the
Right?
story now. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to get him on because he was loving Megan. It was a great show.
Yeah. I remember him saying this is one of the top shows of the whole week.
Now, I saw
Yeah.
videos of JB, but I didn't see any videos of Andrew.
Oh, I got one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but Andrew was throwing it down. He was, I mean, the whole Meg show, I mean, she was having some sound issues, but she like persevered through it, which is something just a great entertainer does. Like there are moments where like the music stopped and she just kept rapping, and you're like, okay, she's for real doing
That's a
this.
pro. Yeah.
It's a pro move, and she's insane. So I mean, I really she's for me that was like Lil Nas X last year with like kind of choreography and everything
Yeah, that's a good way to
that
put
kind of
it.
that kind of same level. I think she kind of exceeded. It's hard for me to say she exceeded. I think she exceeded it. I liked her stuff a lot more than Lil Nas, but I think Lil Nas had a lot more production. I don't know how to
No, I think that's a
narrow
fair
it
way.
down, but both had that same drop it like just
Say
excuse
it.
me. Uh this just had that same party vibe where you're just dancing and throwing down the whole time.
Yeah.
Uh so I mean that was great. And then Fred again was fantastic. I
Man,
mean
the
that's definitely top for me, that was a top three show of the weekend.
I'm
Uh
so glad that you and Andrew talked me into like, okay, let's go over here in front of the sound booth. Because when we got
mhm,
close enough, we saw that scissor lift, and then we
mhm.
realized what was going to happen later on, and we're all like, "We're holy shit, this is going to be awesome!" Yeah,
It's like, oh, it's right here. They're
yeah.
doing it right here. And so it was really cool. And I love that you were just yelling at Frederick the whole time. You're just or you were you saying Frederick or Fredward? Like
Both. I
you're
was
yelling
trying
at
to troll him so bad.
I wish I'm being on a scissor lift. I thought I'm surprised he didn't say Fredward Scissorhands at any point. But it was but you know it was just he was really incredible, just a cool, really cool entertainer. Uh I think one of my favorite things I heard is something Skylar said is just he's very good at being in the moment,
Yeah,
kind of just interacting like there's someone like through had some bubbles go up and he's like, oh, bubbles, and just really excited about it. He was it felt like he loved being there and having that Glastonbury feel that he was looking for,
yeah.
and especially being that his first show in the South. I mean, he killed it. I really I'm very excited about his future career and where he can go from here.
You know, JB, that's a very good point because I'm not going to name names, but I feel like we go to a lot of shows at Roo, and you can tell that the artists are just going through the motions. They
Right.
have kind of a script where they're using the same jokes that they have at every show, or like the same little interludes between songs or whatever. But Fred is one of those examples where you can tell that it's genuine. He's reacting to things that he sees. In fact, he kept asking, "Hey, can you turn the lights on? I want to see everybody." That doesn't happen super often, really, because like when you're up there on the what stage and the lights are all pointed at you, you can maybe see like the first two rows of people and nothing beyond that. He wanted to see
Mhm.
everybody because he wanted to see what was going on, and he kept interacting with the crowd. I think you're right. He's a perfect example of somebody that's, like Skylar said, in the moment. It is part of the crowd, not just putting on a show for everybody. That's such a good point.
Mhm. Yeah. She was saying that on the walk back, kind of whenever we're all talking, because I mean there's some and I mean there was comparisons between him and Porter, and like I'm a big Porter fan. So it's Porter's a little more introverted, so he's not interacting with the crowd like that all the time, but he's going out into the crowd and like letting people play with like the little drum pad he
Yeah.
has. And so is so like they're both interacting in different ways and making both are making fantastic music in the electronic scene. Uh,
Yeah.
it was just a really fun comparison to make, and I think the main thing between the two is just one's a little more introverted, one's a little more extroverted.
Well, I think there's a
And
good
that's
comparison there also, and we've talked about this before. And somebody who's more in depth with EDM can probably speak more authoritatively on
hmm
this. But I feel that like Fred and Porter are similar in that they're kind of more than DJs. They're kind of like one man
hmm
bands because you
yeah,
see them playing a lot of stuff on the keys live. You see them using a lot of different instrumentation, not just the decks. Porter and Fred both do that, and I've seen them both now. And I think, from my perspective, you can compare them that way.
yeah, I agree. I think they're both naturally just piano players first, and then like DJs with that. It's like they've evolved their music around playing piano,
Yeah,
in a way. It's just both. It's like you could hear it kind of in the chords that they use, especially in the chords Porter uses. It's very interesting.
yeah,
And same, I'd say the same with Fred, just seeing him live, being able to incorporate that and you incorporate a lot of different things as well is just Both are just fantastic.
I was impressed to see Fred sing. He's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. I mean, that was the same thing with me with Porter. I thought Porter had someone else sing on a lot of his tracks. No, but he has a voice modulator that will
Yeah.
like take it like lower or higher. And I'm like, that's really cool to see. So both, I mean, both are just fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll have to get somebody who is really like a, diehard EDM person
Yeah.
to come talk to with us
Mhm.
about this. But I think it's a fair comparison. We'll talk more about this in the future. I figure we'll probably get Porter back. Thank you, Ricky.
he has a new album coming out. So I mean, hopefully I would love for him to come back next year.
Hey,
Uh,
Porter could be a good Thursday headliner.
I've said that for a couple years. Once after I saw him in 22, I was like, he'd be perfect like Thursday night headliner. I would love that. I would be in pit for that, for sure.
The
For
Ruhan
sure.
boys would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I was
JB,
just saying.
sounds like you had. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, Corey, if you're listening, please, quarter 2025.
Tell us about when you came back to camp and the cheese.
Oh, that's right.
Sunday
So
night.
after that, so with our camp being called Eat Cheese and Sin, I brought I think it's about like a 5-10 pound ball of Mississippi State cheese. So Mississippi State has their own dairy factory there, or where they make a lot of different dairy products from like cheese, ice cream, milk, everything. And so I brought their famous Eat 'em cheese ball. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna bring this to camp. Want to hand this to everyone, and just incorporate just sharing like the community aspect of the camp, and bringing cheese, especially with it just being a comically huge ball of cheese.
Like this
Uh,
bit, yeah.
yeah, it's like the size of a head, and so just going around cutting cheese. That
You went around cutting the cheese?
I went around cutting the cheese and handing cheese to people, and that was just really cool. Just interact with people, say goodbye to them, since some were leaving that night. Some I wish I gave some cheese to people that had already left. So I mean, I probably should have done it an earlier night, but I was like, I don't want to open it and then have to keep it cold. I was like, if I keep it closed and all that,
Yeah, it's
Okay,
gotta
that
go.
makes sense,
It's gotta
yeah.
go. And also,
And so-
JB, don't forget, you can fascinate a woman by giving her a piece of cheese.
that's true.
That is true. He's like, can confirm.
But yeah, and so just handing out cheese to people, and letting people know, hey, there's great. I mean, this is just some great cheese. Just want to share with people, and just staying up and talking to people was great. That was a great Sunday night.
Never not great, as the what always says. Sunday
Never
nights
not
have been
great.
special the
Yeah.
past couple of years because you have like a big like, hey, we'll see you guys next year kind of party. The party's never
Mhm.
over. We just kind of take a pause for a little while.
Hmm.
In fact, the party will continue in late September here in Huntsville because it sounds like we're going to have about half of our camp down here at my house that Friday night and over at John Hunt Park for South Star. I can't wait.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be a fantastic festival and a fantastic party, like in Huntsville. Uh, Man, that lineup's just insane. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen the South Star lineup, if you love 90s and 2000s rock, this is the festival for you.
Oh
Yeah.
Like
We covered
it's
today that Chloe's coming down for South Star.
I'm so excited that Chloe's coming down.
Rookie of the
So,
year.
yeah, I don't know how they managed to get the 2024 Bonnaroo of the year. But
Bonnaravian,
Turn two, yeah.
Bonnaravian of the year.
the Bonnaroo
Bonnaravian of the year.
Excuse me.
Well, all right, tell that story real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, because I said it on the live podcast. I misspelled it.
Yeah.
I made her a sash, and I was trying to say room one night when I was writing it out, and I misspelled Bonnaroo.
You think you would know that?
You think I would
By
know
this
after all
point.
these years?
Yeah.
I misspelled Bonnaroo.
Oh my gosh.
I spelled it with one O. I
One
put
O instead of two.
Bonnaravian
Robian.
of the year.
It sounds fancy though. Just Bonnaravian.
Oh, Bonnaravian.
It's
It's French.
It's French.
Yeah.
French.
Bonnaravian of the
Well,
year.
JB, thank you so much for sharing your stories. I feel like you were one of the most viral Bonnaravians this past year
Clearly.
because of the flag and everything. And I have to put in a request that you bring that flag for the South Star party here
Yeah.
at my house.
I'll
Well,
do that. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll bring the flag down here. Heck, I'll bring it down, and I know because we're going to that Cardinals game in a couple weeks, or the Cardinals Brave game in a couple weeks. I'll bring it down there so that way if you want to set it out for that, and I don't forget it.
Okay.
So I'll make
Um,
sure to bring it down.
Well, again, to put in a plug, if anybody happens to be around the area, if you want to go hang with a bunch of Bonnarovians, Saturday the 20th, it's a night game. Saturday night, just get a general admission ticket. Come hang with a bunch of us. It's going to be ungovernable that night.
Oh man.
Mitchell's going to be there. Andrew's going to be there. Josh, Maddie, so many.
Yeah, I am ready for everyone to be mad at me because I am a Cardinals fan going into Braves country with a lot of Braves Bonnaravians. So it's gonna be so I'm gonna get a lot of shit. So if you want to talk shit to me, please do.
We don't have a problem with Cardinals fans. We have a problem with Phillies and Mets fans.
Hey, I feel you on Phillies and Met. Oh, I can't. I've nope, I haven't opened up to Mets as much. They've drafted a lot of Mississippi State players in the past, but they've also traded a lot of Mississippi State players. So it's like, for me, as long as you're not a Cub, you're fine.
Oh, okay. We can get into that whole discussion another time. Well, JB, thank you so much for jumping on with us tonight. And just to give a heads up for anybody listening, we're going to do a number of these. We're going to talk to like Roovians, talk about how the Roo went, share funny stories and everything. And at some point here in the coming month or two, we've got a couple of special episodes. We're going to do one specifically about South Star and Huntsville. So, JB, we might have you on for that one too, since you're going to be here.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think we're going to have our friends and fellow Roovians, Ryan and Jordan, on before too long to talk Burning Man because they're going with us this year and we're going back. Can't wait.
We haven't asked him yet, but
Ryan, if you're listening, yeah, this is your invitation. He knows. I'm going to have him on. Well, JB, good to hang with you. I'll see you here at my house as we make our way over to Atlanta next weekend. So until then, and until we all see you again, get out there and radiate positivity. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Happy Roo.
Happy Roo.
All